might fly in the city. On the sidewalk, or an old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think one day they're gonna round up, well, that shit might fly in the city. Good luck, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town. Good old boys, raised up right. Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Round here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town. Try that in a small town. Try that in a small town. Who's the black rider dick that's a sexy machine to hard chicks? You're damn right.
Hey, good evening. Good evening. Another live Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The live Radical Republican show. Yeah, I had a few glitches earlier. I was trying something new, so I was trying to see if it worked, but it didn't work too well. So I'm gonna do something else with that to try to do that. But what you saw briefly up there, you saw a video of us yesterday. You know, that was supposed to be Jasmine Crockett's birthday. Happy birthday, Jasmine Crockett. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Since you wanted Elon to go down on your birthday. And so, you know, I guess she probably was one of the catalysts of this nationwide Tesla, you know, blackout day or whatever they want to call it, takedown, that Tesla takedown. So what you saw in the footage a little bit was the rally we were at. That was in Meridian, Idaho, and that's why I played the song. Try that in a small town, right? Because shit don't work here. It's too many conservatives here. Even though we got Boise here. You know, that's a more liberal. It's the more liberal city than all the other surrounding cities until you get up north of Idaho. But the group from Washington State was supposed to come down and I guess dance in the streets and block traffic or whatever they were going to do. They wanted to be in front of the Tesla dealership on yesterday, and we were not going to allow that. We're not going to allow that here in conservative land of the Treasure Valley of Idaho. You could have tried to pull that stuff down in Boise, but not in Meridian. So we took over the front of the Tesla dealership. They had about 20 people max. I don't even think that they were actually in the video, but I don't even think you can see them because they were on the same side of the street that we were, trying to be in front of the Tesla dealer, but we lined up all the way down. So they went across the street, which was fine, which was best. They went across the street. And they, you know, the little group, and then you know we went across the street too. So, so they really didn't have a place to protest. You know, something did stupid happen though. It was like right after I left, I had heard reports that some crazed liberals, always one, right? That in the tolerant left, some crazed liberal hit one of our counter protesters is what we were called, since they actually set up the protest. We counter protested, and so you know then he hit one of the protesters. The guy wasn't hurt, I guess, too seriously. He drove himself to the hospital, but the crazed liberal was arrested. Yay, let's applaud that. You know, the police, okay, the Meridian police arrested that jerk and took him to jail. He got booked, and I don't know if he's still in jail or not. I don't know if you get out of jail for that. That's like I said they get him for malicious wounding or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so we took over, and you know, you saw places like New York, and you know they were dancing in the streets, and I mean just different places across the nation where they actually took over. But but you can't do that here. But I guess the group that was supposed to come down from Washington, I don't know, only a few of them showed up. They decided not to come because we were counter protesting, and they knew that they would be outnumbered. So you know, it's good that they chose not to come. But you know, a few of them showed up, and you know, it was peaceful. It was a very, very peaceful rally until that jerk hit one of the counter protesters. It was really like right after I left too, and so but yeah, so justice was done on that guy. I hope he, you know, gets you know, the what do you call it, the full extent of the law, right? You know, that he's prosecuted. There you go, prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and and that's that. So, but anyway, I am supposed to have a guest. Again, I tried to book Shane Jenkins again, and as people said he would be here. Shane Jenkins is a J6er prisoner, but if he doesn't show up, we're gonna keep going. So first, you guys know, I'm going to hit my sponsor. So again, from Maverick Broadcasting, okay, the Maverick Media is dead, and independent voices are the future. That's why Maverick Broadcasting Network and Maverick Broadcasting Network is up on Rumble. So that's where one of the places that the Radical Republicans live show is being seen and sponsored by, and on the Maverick Broadcasting Network. And we bring you real news, the hard-hitting truth, and the bold conversations. If you ever watch this show, we probably have the boldest conversations, I think, on the internet. I mean, you got Joe Rogan, but he has the bigger crowd, but because he's more popular, or whatever. But I actually think we have some bold conversations, just like he does, just like his show does, and of course, the establishment does not want you to hear. We are 100% uncensored. We're 100% America first. This show is unscripted, definitely unfiltered. So as well, and streaming live on Rumble every day. As far as the Maverick Broadcasting Network, you won't want to miss our powerhouse lineup of shows, including the Jeff Dornick Show, Steel News with Ann Vandersteel. She's awesome. Two Mics with Dr. Michael Schur and Colonel Mike, Bob and Eric Save America Show, and of course the Radical Republicans live show, and many, many more. But we need your support to keep this movement going strong. So for those who have not already, go subscribe to the Rumble channel at maverickbroadcasting.com. Then head over to pickaxe.com, and be a paid subscriber. That's where the real action happens. Exclusive roundtable shows featuring our top hosts and guests, raw and unfiltered like never before. The regime is coming for the independent media, but we're not backing down. So support Maverick Broadcasting Network today. Subscribe, share, and stand with us in the fight for truth. MaverickBroadcasting.com and Pickaxe. Be part of the revolution. Then I'll hit some super massive black coffee or something later. So gold went up over $3,100 briefly last week. I think we're gonna breach that probably this week. I think the resistance of 3,100 is gonna fall this week. With some things happening with the tariffs coming into play. April 2nd, what is Trump calling it? Liberation Day. Liberation Day. I'm hoping, this is what I'm hoping, full liberation, right? Okay, you're gonna bring in tariffs and cut out the income tax. Cut out the income tax and make property taxes illegal, because we all know property taxes are illegal. Okay. If the government can come and take your property, your car, whatever, your house, if you don't pay property taxes on something that you already own, then you're just leasing it from the government and you don't own it. And I think that's just total bullshit. That's total bullshit. I see you guys over there on Getter. My Getter chat is getting live. They get drunk over there. You guys know that, right? They get drunk over there on Getter chat, and they have a great time over there. So I love the Getter chat. And I see you on I check all the Rumble stations and everything. So, but I see on YouTube again tonight, Susan. Hey, you're on YouTube with Carolyn. Hey, Carolyn, of course, my crew. What do you say? The posse. That's definitely the posse. They hang out every Sunday night on either Rumble, or when Rumble is acting up, they pop on YouTube and X, and we're live on X, and we're getting a few more followers on X. So I hope you guys just pick up the pace over there on X and bring it up. So, but so we were supposed to have a first guest was supposed to be Shane Jenkins. Well, the second guest is going to be we are at the 9 o'clock hour. The 9 o'clock hour is going to be Reverend Damien Thaddeus Jones. And he goes by noblenegro.com. Damien Thaddeus Jones. So I'm going to introduce him to you guys in the 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time hour. Okay. So until then, right, we have, I am so thankful, for Jasmine Crockett. I am thankful for Jasmine. Okay, all right. I just heard Shane pop in. Boom. So we'll just play some Jasmine a little later. We'll play some Jasmine a little later. Let me bring in my man Shane Jenkins to the stage. How you doing, brother?
Good. I had another link, and I guess Sarah just sent it to me. This link. She's like, "Try this one," and I was like, "I was sitting in the other room on the other link for like 15 minutes." So I'll
Oh,
be
okay. All right, we're cool, man. Hey, man, I just wing it. I don't have a script or schedule shit. So it's all good, man. Welcome to the Lions Den. We call it the Lions Den on the Radical Republicans Live Show, man. We appreciate you being here. And tell you what, for the people that don't know who you are, I gave you a little brief introduction. Jay Sixer, you were in the Gulag of you were a prisoner of Washington there for a little bit. But
absolutely.
I tell you what, give everybody your background prior to J6, January 6th, what you do, what you did. And then let's walk through J6 and in your time in prison
Okay.
before President Trump pardoned you. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I have a long backstory, but I will give you like what I thought was a pretty normal childhood growing up, and found out I was adopted when I was 12 or 13 years old, and really spun me for a loop. And I had what I like to say is like an identity crisis as a very young man, because I felt like that. We've all seen the kid that gets somebody puts the kick me sign on the back of them in class or whatever, and everybody's laughing at him or whatever, and like that everybody else knows except for the kid, right? And so that's how I felt like when I felt like everybody else knew I
Okay.
was adopted, and like I was the butt of the joke. And I know this was a immature way to react to that
No,
situation, but
but dude, I hear that a lot though, man. I actually hear that a lot from adults. I mean, you found out when you were 12, 13, shit, I know adults that have taken tailspins, find out that all their lives that they thought their mom and their dad was their mom and dad, didn't come to find out that they weren't, and had
absolutely.
these crises. So now, man, for a 12, 13-year-old dude, that shit's probably normal.
Well, and then yeah, well, and so like you say, I felt like Shane Jenkins was a lie, right? And it's kind of like I felt like that. Then I started to question. Then I felt kind of like I felt this betrayal to my adopted family, even though in retrospect, now looking back, it was a blessing that they adopted me. I didn't see that then. So then
Right.
I kind of resented that against them. I felt betrayed by them, even though they were trying to love me the best they could. And then I look at, on the other hand, for my biological mom, I was like looking at it like, what was so wrong with me that my own mom didn't want me? And I just had this statement that I would hear in my head, like, you're just a piece of trash. You're just like a throwaway, like your own, something's so wrong with you that your own mom didn't even want you. And that was just really
Right.
and obviously that's not true, but that was just really a powerful statement in a very young man, especially man, and especially in my psychological formative years as a
Mhm.
very young, going through puberty and trying to pick up my hairstyles and this, whatever it is, what clothing
Mhm.
style I was going to wear and all of that. So it just was
Right.
really, it rocked my boat. And I took a really, before that I was playing basketball and football, baseball, pole vaulting, running track, cross country, like everything, golf, doing all of it.
Oh, right.
And I
Okay.
just really um, took a
So how did
dark
you
turn.
find out? So how did you find out?
So my, in the sixth grade, so prior to this, I went to private school in West Fort Worth, at a school called All Saints Episcopal School. But after that, my mom had and adopted dad had fallen in love with this city in New Mexico called Ruidoso,
Mhm.
and so we moved up there. Not long after that, my adopted dad left because he had real bad emphysema and he couldn't breathe the thinner air in the mountains. And then I remember not long after that, my adopted sister came up to visit, and she and I had some kind of, I don't remember exactly what it was over, but it was some kind of falling out.
Mhm.
It was a like not knockdown drag out, but it was a screaming match argument. And I remember, like, I just remember this big conflict between me and my sister. I don't know what it was about. And I remember my mom came outside and my sister and I are out there screaming. She's like, I'm like 12 or 13. She's probably 30 or 29, you know what I
Oh
mean? And
shit.
so
Okay. Okay.
she's an adult. And I didn't realize this then, but there was a lot of resentment as her being my mom's natural daughter and me being adopted. And my
Mhm.
mom really she spoiled me and she wanted to nurture that trauma that I had endured as a little boy that I didn't know about it, but she was trying to compensate for that,
Right.
right? And so, but my sister looked at my mom and she told her, she said, if you don't tell him, I'm gonna tell him, man. I was like, tell me what, right? And
There's no such thing as Santa Claus, man.
yeah, that's right. I wish that's what it was.
You get that first, when you first find out that there's no Santa Claus in your world, it's like fuck, right?
Wait,
Like,
what do you mean? There's no Santa Claus?
no, I go ahead, man. I don't mean to make light of it, man.
No, man, no worries. I like it. I appreciate
it's
it.
like when you find out shit, man. For the first time, man, it's traumatizing. Okay, but go ahead, man.
no,
We
it
have
is
fun
heavy,
here,
but
man.
no, you're not bothering me at all, man. I appreciate because it does get heavy, and it still wears on some people. It wears on me sometimes. So,
Mhm.
so I kind of checked out of school at that point. Started skipping school. I don't know if you can see that. I'm burdened by what has been.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say, man, nice shirt. I love it.
And so I kind of started skipping school, dropped out of sports, just wasn't really doing well, kind of disengaged, started drinking, doing minor drugs, whatever here and there, and just started running away from home. My mom would try to put some guardrails or some discipline in there, and I would just run off. And so that's kind of what I did. I ended up getting in so much trouble in this little bitty town in New Mexico that the sheriffs were like, look, if y'all will just leave Rudoso and get out of here, we will drop all the charges against your son. And my mom was like, all right, I guess that's what we're doing. So we packed up, and I spent like 2 or 3 years in New Mexico, and then we moved back to Texas. And so by the age of 15, so I wanted to go back to New Mexico. So I robbed a guy at a gas station in Fort Worth at knife point. Had stolen one of my mom's Citgo gas credit cards and drove. I had my, I'll never forget, I had my Dr. Dre the Chronic cassette tape, my mom's stolen gas card, and the car that I carjacked. And I was like, so I get arrested in New Mexico and Las Cruces. About 3 days later, they extradite me back to Texas. I get a year probation for aggravated robbery. And then I guess about 6 months later, again, I'm still looking for my identity, right? And so I'm running with a really bad crowd in Fort Worth. This is in the 90s, and the gangs in Dallas, Fort Worth, really in Texas in general, were just exploding. Like that was around this year, 93, 94 was when Texas, or when Fort Worth was actually the murder capital of the nation, right?
Right.
And so,
yeah.
About 6 months after I caught that first charge that I was on probation for, my friends had gotten jumped by a rival gang earlier that night. They were riding around looking for these guys, and I happened to intercept my friends, and I heard what happened, and I told them, I'm going with y'all. I got in the car with them. Unbeknownst to me, they had a gun, and we found those guys, and they pulled right up next to them going down the highway, or down the city street, and pulled up next to them and just emptied a whole clip into the back of the truck, where there were 6 people in the back of the truck and 3 in the front. And the driver in my car was the one shooting. And he killed a kid who was 16. I was also 16, and shot 2 more people who would live. But the driver ended up getting 40 years. He was charged he was 18. He got 40 years.
Mhm.
The pastor was 17. He got 10 years as an adult. And I was 16, and they charged me as a juvenile. And they said, if you don't take this attempted murder, because in Texas it's the law of parties, they're like, if you do not take this law of parties, like attempted murder charge, then we're going to send you to prison as an adult. And here I am, like a 16-year-old little white kid. I was like, my mom's like, you better take that. And it was 2 to 4 years as a juvenile. And so I pled guilty to attempted murder as a juvenile. Even though I didn't pull the trigger, I was still, it probably saved me a big headache. But I went to TYC. I went to Gainesville State School and got my GED, got my high school diploma. I learned how to weld, started playing sports again, was really well liked by the community in there. Even though it was juvenile prison, there was still like a lot of, I think that's what we're kind of missing in the prison system now, is like the camaraderie that there was in there. We had cookouts like every weekend, and with the staff, and like the staff could take us out on weekend leave with them for a few hours at a time if they wanted to. And so it was kind of,
you guys so it was a mentorship in there. Basically, they were actually mentors. They just weren't in there to browbeat you, tell you you're pieces of shit, and because you made a mistake,
right,
and or riding with the wrong car. They were actually helping you guys.
and they were invested in us, and and it wasn't every kid wasn't treated that way, but there were a lot of kids that were. You saw a lot of kids were going to college. I got into a program where we got took off campus and went to college, and I started doing that. But there was a lot of investing in the kids because
Hmm.
we had messed up, and had the events not occurred to me earlier in my life, I don't think that I would have been in there. And I think that people realize that, and that there's still hope for the future. And so yeah, so I end up getting out at the age of 19, and I had my football coach was actually in the prison, was actually had a friend who coached at the University of North Texas, and he wanted me to go play football there. He felt like I had a good shot at it, and they got me an opportunity to go play football there. So I left there, I believe it was in '97, and went straight to the University of North Texas. I didn't even go to my mom's. I went straight to college from there. I went from
Wow.
lockdown environment, like uber
Lockdown.
controlled,
Yeah. Wow.
to a
Wow.
college campus with all these 30,000 kids who've never been away from their parents' home, and women and alcohol. And I was not prepared for that. So I lasted about
Yeah.
6 months at school. I didn't even last a semester, probably lasted 3 months. And then I
Wow.
ended up moving back home to my mom's, and so my adopted dad had died. I guess he died when I was 16 before I went in. But when I went home to my mom's, she said, I've met somebody. How do you feel about me getting remarried? And I was like, if you're happy, I'm happy. Right. And so,
Mhm.
um, I didn't think about it, but this guy moves in with two trash bags, and then my mom's like, $250,000 house, whatever. Like, and he was real. He was a Vietnam like war hero, and but real bad alcoholic. And whenever he would drink, he would do drugs. And I didn't see that in the beginning. He was a nice guy to hang out with when he was sober, but whenever he got drunk, he became a different person. And so,
Right.
um, I started witnessing that. And then sure enough, he went to jail twice for putting his hands on my mom. And then there was like he had pulled a gun on me, pulled a gun on my friend, and held it to his head. And like, and when I started carrying a gun after he started doing that, I pulled a gun out on him. Like after he jumped out with the gun, it just got crazy at my house. And so one night he told me that I needed to leave, and I told him I'm not unless my mom asked me to leave the house, or
Mhm.
she sells the house, or I get this. I was waiting on this money for this program that I did in the juvenile system that would pay for it's called independent living, that would pay for my apartment for 6 months. But you had to request the money, and it took a while to get that process
Right.
going. But my mom had told me, because I was working two jobs at this point. I was working for Laidlaw, throwing garbage, and then I was valeting cars at nights, and so I was like
Mhm.
working a lot of hours, but I was making a lot of money. And so, but my mom's like, I'm like terrified of this, man, when you're not here. And she's like, I can't depend on you to be here because you're working all the time, and
Right.
you being at work is not going to help me when my butt is on the line at home getting beat by him, or he's going to try to kill me. And so, later that he tells me I need to leave, I tell him I'm not leaving. And then I hear him arguing. He goes upstairs, kind of huffing and puffing, and goes upstairs. And I'm like, man. And so I go up there after I hear him like arguing, cussing each other out. And I'm like, look, man, that conversation was between me and you, two grown men talking. Like, leave her out of that. I said, this is not, nothing's changed. She's not going to ask me to leave. I'm not leaving. Like, stop. And then he's like, he looks at me and he's like, I'll fucking kill you. And there's a shotgun, my 20 gauge Remington 1100, semi-automatic dove hunting shotgun is right there by, like, within arm's reach of him on the bed. And
Mhm. Mhm.
and so I'm like, look, just trying to diffuse the situation. I'm like, just chill out. And I end up leaving and going back downstairs, and everything was fine. But uh, I did take that threat seriously, and so I went and got a pistol out of the front closet downstairs and put it on the coffee table down there with me watching TV. And an hour or so later, I hear my mom scream, and then I hear a thump, and I hear him like, oh no, like he's already threatened to kill me. And so I grab the gun and I run up the stairs, and I get up to the door to my mom's room, and it's locked. And I'm 20 years old, and I'm standing there, and I just hear like them screaming and arguing, and I hear him like, you stupid effing this, and you C word, B word, this, just like, and I'm like, what is going on? And my mom, and finally I'm just like, I've got to protect my mom. And so I finally stepped back with the gun, and I kicked the door in. When I kicked the door in, he's laying in bed and with the shotgun pointed at the door right at me. And he's like, he raises up and he's like, motherfucker, I'm going to kill you. and shoots, and like the barrel of the shotgun looked like it was like that big. I see the flame come out of the gun, and he blows the top of the door frame off like 6 inches above my head. Missed me by like 6 inches. Yeah, and so I'd like to say I stood my ground and shot back, but I turned around and ran right out of there, all the way down the stairs to the kitchen, and called 911. I don't think I touched the stair going down the whole way.
Right.
And yeah, and so I get down there to the phone, and we didn't have a cordless phone. We had a cord
Oh
phone.
yeah,
So I
the
pull it
cord.
from the cord. I pull it over behind the counter, and I'm like on the phone. I'm calling 911, and I've got the gun. And my mom comes down there next to me, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm calling the police." That man just almost
Right.
blew my head off. Like, tried to kill me. And she's like, "He was just trying to scare you." And I was like, "What are you smoking?" I was like, "Are you kidding?" And so that really just, I was like, I'm calling. So I was staying on the phone with 911. She's standing right next to me, and here he comes down the top of the stairs. He's like saying, "I'm coming to get you, boy. I'm coming to get you, mother, mother effer." And I'm like, here he comes. And so when he gets down close enough, he gets about 15 feet from me at the bottom of the stairs. I just jump up from behind the counter and just start on the phone to 911, like bang, 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 just shooting. And they're like, "What is that?" I was like, "I'm shooting." And my mom's like, the shell casings are landing in her big poofy red hair. She's screaming, and it's dark down there, and it's like gun
Yeah.
flashes, and it was like crazy. I'm like, "What?" And so he shoots again. I shoot like 7 times. He shoots out of a jerk reaction because he's not really facing me. He all he had to do was like this and turn around and shoot me. But I didn't leave him that opportunity, and so I shot 7 times. He shoots at a jerk reaction, I think. Then I shoot 6 more times. He falls down the stairs. My mom runs over there, and the 911's like, "Get the guns away, get the gun away from him." And then they're like, "Put the guns where the cops can find them." So I take him and put him out by the curb, and then I go back in, and he's like going into shock, and uh, he's like, "You got me, boy, you got me." It sounds like so like cliche, like some kind of Western movie or something, but it was just it was crazy. I'm 20. This is my stepdad, and so
Right.
uh, eventually the fire truck gets there, and the cops come and clear the house. And anyways, he dies on the way to the hospital. So here I am, 20 years old, and I've had an identity crisis as a very young man. I've watched my friends shoot and kill a guy and shoot 2 more people, done 3 years in prison. And then now I've been out like a year, and I've killed my own stepdad by my own hand. And so it was just a lot for me to deal with. It still is a lot if I think about it too much. And it's like, because I think like he's a war hero, he's somebody's son, he's somebody's father. It was a human life. It was in self defense, yeah, but it's just something that it tormented my spirit, right? And I couldn't deal with it, so I turned really heavily to drugs and alcohol because I was already suffering with these other deals that I was dealing with. I'm not emotionally that mature, and so I start turning to drugs and alcohol really, really bad, and ended up selling drugs to that end, because I wasn't interested in working anymore after that. And then I was able to do all the drugs I wanted if I sold all the drugs I wanted, and so it was just kind of like this horrible symbiotic relationship.
So at what point? I mean, dude, your life is a fucking movie, and I mean, it
Absolutely.
is. Yeah, no, I mean, and I'm from the hood, right? So I hear about these stories every day, right? But when you are black, you hear about the black side, right? And I mean, you never hear about the white side. Yeah, this shit happened to white boys too, right? Right?
Absolutely,
White boys don't
yeah.
have fathers in the home, right?
Right.
You don't have fathers in the home. You don't have that guidance in the home. You got moms. You got fucking dudes that beat up on your mom and shit. And you want to protect your mom, dude. That shit's like real. That shit's like
Absolutely.
real all through the spectrum of fucking color. But a lot of people don't see it that way. A lot now. I didn't know this about your story. For the viewers, right? For the viewers, this is me and Shane's first time talking. I like to actually do this like this because I don't pre-interview my guests. A lot of
Right.
people know that I don't see, and that's why my show is probably one of the best because it doing that it takes it to different angles. It may go different
Right.
ways than I thought, and then
Yeah.
different ways than I planned. So this all goes back to the nuclear family. And so when the
Right.
nuclear family is fucked up, right?
Mhm.
It's fucked up for everybody, black and white, right?
Right.
So at what point did you go to jail for that? And at what point did you? I mean, it probably was self-defense, so you may didn't. I don't know, but at what point did it all turn around for you, and that you became this dude that you are now?
Yeah, so I went to jail that night. They charged me with murder. The I ended up doing 15 days in jail because I was on parole for that gang related shooting that my friends did that I
Yeah,
was a
yeah, you're on
party
parole,
to.
right?
So I did 15 days. I had to appeal my charges all the way, my parole violation all the way to the executive director of the Texas Youth Commission. He granted it under extenuating circumstances. About 90 days later, I was no billed by the grand jury for self-defense. And so from that point forward was when I was kind of saying I went turned to the streets and alcohol. It was like I had this hole in my heart at that point, and I tried to
Yeah.
fill it with power, money, women, sex,
Mhm.
drugs, alcohol, rock and roll, whatever it was, like anything, but coping with it and dealing with it, right? And so by the age of 20, this was 20 whenever that happened. By the age of 23, I'm off to prison for my first trip from 2001 to 2005. I get out. I'm out 2 years. I go back in with a 9-year sentence. I go in from 2007 to 2010. I get out in 2010, get married in 2011. My mom passes away in 2012. And
Damn.
as if I needed another excuse to go back to prison,
Right.
here it goes again. So I go back to prison again in 2013. But thankfully, like God has a plan, right? And so um, my mom was like my moon and my stars and my sun, right? She was somebody that no matter how messed up my life it got, she refused to turn her back on me. I was her baby, and I would always remain her baby, no matter if I did the most heinous thing that I could ever do to anybody. Fortunately, I didn't, but she just was loved me through it, and she knew that I had some problems, and she supported me through it. And so, um, I go to prison in 2013, and this is the first time I've ever had to do a bid without my mom you know, coming to visit me, coming to drop off commissary,
Right.
sending me newspapers, sending me magazines, sending me care packages or whatever. And God really used that, like that isolation and that, like, because I had an idol in my heart and it was my mom. And
Right.
he's a jealous God, right? And it's
Right.
unhealthy. It's okay to love mom. I'm not saying that, but my mom was like, and she kind of manufactured this relationship in a codependent way, like, and it was unhealthy, but she was mom, I couldn't change that. And so when she was gone, now God used that. I saw parole 2013, 2014, or excuse me, 14, 15, and 16. They told me, no, absolutely not, all three times. And so I applied to this program called the Prison Fellowship Program, which was started by Chuck Colson, who was the hatchet man for Richard Nixon, who took the fall for Watergate for
Water.
Richard Nixon.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Right. And so there's a political tie back to all of this. Right. And so
Right.
I found out if you apply to that program, it's an 18-month program about the life of Jesus Christ. And if you get admitted and you successfully complete the program, you're going home. And I was like, 18
Oh
months,
wow.
I can do that. They
Okay.
were going to try to make me do another 4.5 years on my sentence. And so I signed up for the program. Not really, I knew of Christ, but I really wasn't a believer in Christ. And
Hmm.
so I apply for the program, I get accepted, and I go. And man, in prison, so like I say, I was an athlete and I play basketball like that was just my exercise and my recreation in there. And so I played basketball. I'm a taller guy, I'm like 6'1", like 240. But so they bring this ministry. I get to Carol Vance unit, which is the prison fellowship unit. And the day before Thanksgiving of 2016, about a month later, December 19th or so, this ministry is coming called Charm Prison Ministry. And they're all the guys that play basketball, like, dude, we want you to come play with us because these dudes they're bringing are like 6'6", 6'8", and some of them like one of them played for the Harlem Globetrotters and the Spurs. The other ones are like
Oh man.
6'6" and can dribble, like and can shoot from way outside. Like if you don't run out there on them, they're going to shoot and make it. And if you run out there on them, they're going to blow by you and go straight to the rack. And there's nothing. They're 6'6". They dribble
You
like
can't
they're
do nothing
like the
about
new.
that.
Yeah, you can't do nothing about it. So, man, they whooped our butts on the basketball court for about 3 hours, and then they said we're going to feed you guys. So it was like it was their Christmas event that they had,
Oh, okay.
and it's right here in Houston where I'm at, and they sent us all back to the dorm. We all kind of got freshened up, cleaned up so we could go eat, and then everybody goes and gets in line to go to the chapel where the food is, and so we go into the chapel door, and all the volunteers that play basketball right there, they've got their food, they're eating. And then we turn right and go down this wall, and they've got these card tables lined up, and they've got brisket and gumbo and like all the fixings and like cobbler pie, like just everything. And I'll never forget, man, walking around that corner and seeing these women standing there, and I just remember seeing like this glow like emanating from them. And obviously, I miss my mom, right? And I miss that motherly love, but I just saw these smiles on these women's face, and I'm sitting here thinking like, I have like lived the most fucked up life. Like I had 5 children by 5 different women. I've just left like a path of destruction, like in and out of prison my whole life, like just fighting, bar fight, like everything, just anything you can think of, I did it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And here I am looking at these women. I'm like, they spent their gas money. They took their weekend time away from their kids to come in here to this prison, and they are like overjoyed to be here. And I'm looking at me, and I'm like, I am miserable, and I'm alone, and like, and I just like, I felt like this big, like I felt like this light of Christ is shining through them, and I felt like that big. Um, and I'll never forget. I went and got my food, and I just went and sat down at the table, and just something inside of me just broke. And I know that like Jesus Christ was right there with me. And like I always look at it like in the moment, I don't remember it, but I see it in like in my heart and my spirit. And he's like puts his hand on my shoulders. I'm sitting there like weeping, and he says, "Son." And when he says son, it's like that is what I've been wanting to hear. Like it replaced that you're a throwaway, you're a piece of trash. Because he gave me my identity in that word, one word, son, right? And he says,
Mhm.
I'll never leave you and I'll never forsake you, which is out of Deuteronomy. But
Yeah.
he's like giving me, you don't have to worry about me abandoning you in your time of need. I'm never going to throw you away. I'm always going to be here with you. And then I think about my step, because I had that wound as a child, and then I carried around this guilt and this shame from killing my stepdad. And then I read later in the word, there is no guilt or shame in Christ. As long as you reside in me and I in you, there is no guilt and no shame. And so he mended those wounds in that moment. And it was like I carried this backpack with all these heavy burdens of pains of
Oh yeah.
life.
Bet. Yeah.
And he's
The
like,
scars, bro.
just give it to him. Just let me carry it for you. Just
Yeah.
set it at the foot of the cross and just walk and let me carry it. You can like, and it was like, it was, I learned this after that, but it was like when I gave that away to him, like I didn't know who I was without that, with,
Mhm.
without that burden, because I've been carrying it so long.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to figure out who I was without that. And it was the most freeing thing, but it was one of the most difficult things. So I know we got to probably get moving on to others, but I go through that program. It takes 18 months. I get released. That ministry, Charm Prison Ministry, that came in that day when I accepted Christ. After I ate that meal, I got up and professed that I wanted to follow Jesus Christ for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
Accepted Christ. I went through the 18-month program that Chuck Colson started. Got out in July of 2018, moved from Dallas Fort Worth away to Houston, and went to this program at Charm where they have 8 residential houses here in West Houston, housing anywhere from 75 to 100 men who have had an encounter with Jesus Christ and want to walk out their discipleship and their faith in society, which is something that many of us have never done. And so I'm still a part of that ministry. Got hired on staff not long after that. And so from that
Good.
point,
Awesome, man.
I started watching. Now, this was in 2016. I'm in prison. Trump got elected, right?
Right.
And I started watching them with this Russia collusion hoax going on, and they're
Mhm.
going after him. And I'm like, I'm seeing the lie they're putting out there, and I'm discerning the truth from it. And I'm not by any means some political like savant or anything like that, but I could see the phoniness behind it. And then I started digging in the word about the unborn, where it says, you know, I knew every hair on your head. I knew you before I laid the pillars of the earth. I knew you in your mother's womb. And so like life became important to me. And I started to, so that's really where my foundation of from my faith is where my politics sprang from. And every kind of just followed after that.
Right.
To getting out, and then ended up voting. So I got off parole 2019, voted in the 2020 election. For the first time, I was not on parole, not on probation, and interested in voting. Lost my job in the oil field over COVID and the Russian OPEC price war that was going on. Watched the 2020 election be stolen, and then, you know, we can get on to the next phase whenever you're ready, but I'm sure you got some questions or something for me. So.
Oh no, man, you rolling, man. Shit, I mean, dude, I should have had you on for 2 hours instead of 1 hour. But I mean, I'm gonna have to have you back, man, because I got a second.
Absolutely.
I mean, but okay, I'm gonna fast forward. Okay, so I mean, because your story is tremendous, man. I mean, like I said, I did not. I mean, because I'm gonna bring you back, dude. I'm gonna bring you maybe next Sunday. We gonna have you back really soon, man. To
I'm
really
gonna get you my phone number too. That way we can we'll be on the same page, no question.
Yeah, exactly. I can send you the link and everything, you know, to the show. I mean, Sarah does a great job. She's been on the show. Okay, so right now, then, all right. So you go to DC on January 6th.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us that story. You know, so what happened? And how did you end up in the gulag in DC?
So I went to the Capitol, and a lot of people, if you look up my story, it'll say, man,
I've seen it, but yeah, I've seen you. And okay, now this is the part of the story I do know, because I did this research, but but my viewers haven't heard this. So the other stuff, I'm blown away. I'm digging it. I love it, man, because it's a success story. I mean, your story is a total fucking success story. You know, coming out. So January 6th, it happens. And okay, take it from there.
Okay, yeah. So, I come back home after January the 6th, and I get arrested March 5th here in Houston at one of the Charm Prison Ministry houses. Houston SWAT and the FBI comes 6:30 in the morning, armored personnel carrier out in the front yard, both ends of the street blocked off. All the neighbors are outside. You know, they're yelling on the megaphone. They take me to jail here in Houston, take me to FDC Houston, and it started off with a rude awakening. They locked me in a cell for 11 days without a shower, put me in there under COVID protocols. They're bringing my food to me, but I'm not afforded the opportunity for a shower. I'm talking like straight from the streets, thrown in a jail cell for like 14 days. After 11, they started letting me take showers. Still no phone call. So I haven't been able to make sure my dog is okay. I haven't been able to secure a lawyer, talk to anybody about anything. You're talking like high profile, like kidnap me basically, and not giving you any kind of communication with anybody. And so after about 30 days in custody, they load me on a thing called Con Air. I don't know if your viewers know that Con Air is a real thing.
It's a real thing, yeah.
Yeah, they load you on a bus early in the morning, take you out to a tarmac, out different places all over the U.S., and then Con Air will come in on a scheduled trip and land, and they shackle you up. Anyways, I get to D.C. about a month later after staying in Oklahoma City at a facility, Northern Neck Regional Jail in like Virginia or West Virginia. End up in D.C. around end of April of 2021, and 17 days in solitary confinement there for more COVID protocols. And I'll never forget, we were next door to all the guys that were in C2B, which was the original Patriot pod, or the insurrectionist pod, as the guards call it.
Right.
And we could hear them every night at 9:00. They would stop and sing the national anthem.
Right.
And it was just something that was so surreal, because we're over there suffering lockdown. We don't know what's going on, where we're going, who we're going in with, or anything. And we just hear them over there every night at 9 singing the anthem. And we eventually get in there, and I ended up spending about 30 months, 30 to 32 months in the DC jail, like in a pod with anywhere, probably no more than 50 at a time. But over the period of almost 2.5 years, rotated in and out about 100 men.
Wow. So were you let out before or with President Trump's pardon, or were you out prior to that?
No, I got out January 21st, 2025 at 1 a.m. I was released from a federal prison,
Okay,
and
so you were part of the party.
yeah, absolutely, man. It's so,
Oh, so
so surreal.
how did they know that you were at Jason's? How did they come to get you, in Houston? What did they say?
Well, they had this group called Sedition Hunters. I'm sure they were Antifa or Feds or whatever they were, and they were using basically they were taking all the footage they could find from January 6th, and then they were running it comparisons to Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. And when they would get a hit, like, oh, he's got a facial tattoo here, or
Okay,
his
so it's
hand
running
says,
facial recognition. So they were running straight facial recognition
yeah,
from people that were
it's
there, and I know they were tapping phones and and
the
the
geo fencing they were doing.
geofence in the phones.
They didn't catch me like that, but they definitely had many different techniques, and yeah,
Okay, so
it
where
was
were you, James? So where were you? I mean, did you go inside the Capitol?
no, I was on the lower west terrace hallway where it was like a medieval
Mhm.
siege, like castle siege scene where I was literally feet from Roseanne Boylan when she died. Um, I was assaulted.
When they beat her
Yeah,
to death.
yeah. Victoria White was beaten literally right next to me. The same officer that beat Victoria White, and he hit her in the head about 32 times with the baton.
Right.
Hit me from behind with the baton when I was taking no action. I was pepper sprayed 4 times, taking no action against the police until later on. After we found out they had shot and killed Ashley Babbitt, then they tried to roll Roseanne Boylan's lifeless body out into the crowd like a trash can. Then the crowd freaks out, and I was just like, they've assaulted me. I've witnessed them assaulting other people. They've killed a girl. They've shot another girl inside, and I'm like, and they're stealing an election. I'm just like, I'm absolutely not. And I still have that, like you say, hood streak in me a little bit. Like
Right, right.
I can only take so much. And the 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 most offensive part to me was the other people being hurt, especially women and elderly men. I was just not okay with that. I don't care who. It wouldn't matter who you were. And I tell people this all the time. They were mad about the George Floyd thing. Well, why in the hell didn't they pull out their phones to record the situation? Tackle Derek Chauvin off of the man and tell him, man,
Right.
get off of
Yeah.
him. You're going to
Stop
kill
this.
him.
Yeah.
There's a sacrificial love, like whether it means you going to jail or not. Get in the middle of it. Like stop that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that's probably
Wow.
bad advice or bad protocol, but man,
Yeah. I mean, the other cop should have done that, especially or something. But but it's just crazy, how that works. So what are you doing now? I know you're. I know you took over Sarah's spot at Stand in the Gap, right?
well, I wouldn't say taking over. Sarah's is the backbone and the face of the.
Oh,
I guess I'm the
absolutely.
ugly face of the franchise, but she, like, the foundation wouldn't be operational if it wasn't for her.
Yeah, she's
But
been
yeah,
on the show
so
twice, man. We talked about you. Yeah, you guys that were locked up and her husband, and
yeah,
everything, man.
absolutely.
So it's like crazy.
Yeah, what right now what we're doing is we're helping. We're trying to write the January 6th people's lives. We're working on a thing where we're doing credit repair for the guys because, like I say, everybody got kidnapped off the streets and their credit was all shot to hell. We're also working on a thing called Mission Memory Maker, where we're going to fully fund a 3 to 5 day vacation with the January, and we're starting with 1,000 day. Anybody that did 1,000 days or more,
Mhm.
because we know how vital those relationships with your wife and with your children are, and so
Yeah,
we
man, they
want to
tore families up, man. I mean,
absolutely.
these fucking Democrats, man, they talk about, these illegals being separated from their families. What the fuck did you guys do? What the fuck did you guys do to these January
Yeah,
6ers that actually, held up their constitutional rights,
yeah.
to protest, until the feds, which they are still saying that there were feds out there, they started doing shit. I mean, and they really caused the ruckus, but unfortunately, they still won't release those 48,000 hours of footage that they have, Mike Johnson. Um, but they are so fucking concerned about people coming to our country illegally and their families. I mean, what about these families? What about families that are separated every day? Black and white
Yeah.
families from moms and dads for drunk driving or for stuff, whatever. You separate those families every single day, man. And, I mean, that's the shit that pisses me off because they put so much concern into these illegals, but not American families, man. These families were destroyed, man. And like you say, they just took them off the street. They basically got kidnapped.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so what else was it? We got the mission memory maker, we got the credit repair. We're also working on healthcare, like, and that will help with counseling or medical visits and stuff like that, because we know the healthcare and dental, all that in prison is horrible. So we're working on that. But also, you kind of touched on it earlier when we were talking about the juvenile prison, the mentorship, the
The mentorship,
camaraderie,
yeah.
like the investing, like seeing the value in these people, seeing the potential in them. And that's kind of, we're working on just the mission. The next year or so, we're going to focus on January 6 people, but there is a greater mission moving forward, which is justice reform. And
Right.
we want to invest in the men and women in prison, and we want to change the policy in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, but we also want to invest in these people, so they can be the best husband, the best wife, the best father, the best employee, the best community service mentor, whatever it is, because these people have potential, and they have made
Right.
mistakes, and they have been, it is the least educated and the most impoverished demographic in the nation is the prison population. They are disenfranchised citizens. That's something else we strongly disagree. We believe when your debt is paid to society, you should receive all of your rights back, not
No,
some of your rights,
absolutely,
but
absolutely. When you pay
all of
your
them, man.
debt, everything should come back, and you shouldn't have to ask for them. That should be automatic. I was running on that when I ran for
Absolutely.
Congress. As far as that part of prison reform, yeah, you are still a citizen of the United States. You didn't lose your citizenship. Okay, yeah, you were locked down. 13th Amendment. Even though say you're a slave, you can read 13th Amendment. You're a slave when you're in prison because of 13th Amendment. It says that. I mean, when you get out, you're released from your bondage, and you should get all of your rights back, every last bit of those
Absolutely.
rights back. And I'm definitely a supporter of that. Without a doubt, man. Wow. And I mean, we're hanging on because my second guest hadn't shown up yet, so I'm gonna just hold you over, until he
Yeah,
shows up.
absolutely.
But I mean, and this is all of this is Stand in the Gap. And for you guys, the show, when Sarah was on the show, standinthegap.com, I believe it is, right?
It's Stand in the Gap dot foundation.
Foundation. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you guys go to standinthegap.foundation and donate if you can, help them out. I mean, because one of the things, because kids are not inherently bad. No kid is born bad. Okay. But the environment, right? Kids are become the product of their environment. I don't care where you live, right? Because like I said, I grew up in the hood, and so I see that environment, and now where different places where I lived across America, whether it's a white neighborhood, whether it's a mixed neighborhood or whatever, man, these kids are whatever their community is. That's
Yeah,
everywhere.
absolutely.
I know black kids, they can't read and write. Guess what? I know white kids, they can't read and write. I mean, I know, like I said, and it all comes from that family structure. A lot of it, 90, and I would even say 98%, man, 98% of kids and issues start at home because they have the broken families. They don't
Well,
have that nuclear family.
if you look statistically at the rate of incarceration per, I believe I want to say like 65 to 75% of all children or all men in prison are from a single parent home, and typically that's without the father. And so that's something, as a part of that prison ministry, charm prison ministry, what I got to do, I got to mentor between 10 and 30, depending on it changed every week, but between 10 and 30 youth here in West Houston. And like you say, they are emblematic of the communities that they live in. And I think that you have fathers with a healthy father and son relationship. And if those fathers could start a program and get together and say, us 5 dads are going to take, our sons and these other kids, we're going to have open gym at our local church, and we're going to come let them play basketball for 3 hours. This is what we used to do. And then we would have a 15-minute grown man talk. And meanwhile, mom and the girls are outside, and they're preparing a meal for when everything is done. And it's just kind of investing in these young minds and showing them the brotherhood of men, and just kind of allowing them to see this is what we can do as a community. And I think it's almost the same as the prison reform, investing in those relationships. And I learned a long time ago how you spell love is Time. And so spending
Absolutely.
time with those kids, they don't have to be your kids, but you can love them like
Right.
they're your kids. And
Right.
so
I mean,
I
I've
think that's
coached football for 27 years.
Okay.
You know, I literally I've coached high school football for 27 years, and I do it for that reason. For that
Right.
reason, what's right there, because a lot of these kids, they don't have that, or sometimes they have dads that are work all the time. They're gone and they're not spending their time with them. And coaches become a huge part of these kids' lives. You know, and
Mhm.
I mean, I have players that that I've coached in high school. They're in college. Get them
Mhm.
in college. They graduate college. They have families. They call me, "Hey, coach, I'm about to have a son. I'm about to
Oh,
have a
wow.
kid, man, and I just want to thank you, for being there, because I probably never would have
Uh,
graduated high school if you weren't there." Just all of this love and stuff. I mean, I had this kid because I remember this one kid specifically. I took him, and I used to take these kids on their college visits because a lot of them, they have the single moms and the moms can't
Right.
go. So I would go to New York, I would go to Buffalo,
Okay.
I would go to Alabama, wherever they needed to go. I would take these kids, right? And this one kid, I took him. He was single. He was a bright kid, damn good football player, and I took him to his college visit, and they offered him a full scholarship and everything, right? So on the way back home, I said, when you go, you can't come home, right? I said, you can't. I said, unless except it's on the holidays. I said, you
Mhm.
can't come home. I said, because you know what's gonna happen if you come home. I said, I'm gonna kick your ass myself. I'm gonna beat your ass if you come home, right? And so the kid went to school, went to college, excellent college career, played football. He got his degree and everything, and he
Nice.
called me and he called me. He said, "Coach," he said, "Man," he said, he said, "I want you to come to my graduation." I said, "I'm graduating, coach. I'm getting my degree, right?" And he said, "You know what, coach?" He said, "Every time I thought about coming home, I thought about what you told me, that you was gonna beat my ass if I came home. So I never, so I stayed, right?" I mean, but that was just, he knew that was that tough love, and
Right.
everything. Just like my boys, I raised 3 boys, but just like that, you have to give these kids tough love. But if you give them the time and they can call me anytime or whatever,
Mhm.
and you spend time with them, like I say, that's all they want, man.
Right.
They
There's a
just want
hunger
somebody
for that, like a
to
thirst
care.
for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They need that. And it's not
Yeah.
just and for the women on here, it's not just the men too, the girls
No,
too,
absolutely. Yeah.
especially the ones that don't have dads, man. Girls suffer not having a good role model, and a dad in the home. They end up, with bad men because they don't
Yeah.
know how they should be treated, right? A girl in the
Absolutely.
home with a great father that treats the mother the way that she's supposed to be treated shows the girl how she's supposed to be treated, and she won't accept anything left. If you're not like my daddy, you get the hell away from me. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's right.
And that's the same thing, for boys, for men too. That don't have mothers in the home, I mean, because they need both sides of the nurturing. And if they have a great mom and shows him how she treats the dad, hey, this is how you're supposed to be treated by a woman.
Mm.
They're not gonna settle for anything less, man. So that's that nuclear family is huge, man. But these kids, I'm happy that you definitely giving back and spending time with these dudes and these boys, man, because like I say, you can turn people's lives around. You can turn
Absolutely.
these kids' lives around, just by being there and being the mentor. And you having that story, you can share that story with a lot of boys, man. Like, hey, yeah, I mean, you know what? I was a fucked up kid. I mean, I was, I didn't have a dad. My mom. I mean, dude, your story is amazing.
Uh-huh.
Your story is amazing, Shane. And
It's his
and it's like,
story, right?
yeah, exactly. It's his story. It's his story through you. That's right. It's
Uh,
his story through you. And I mean, but you went through it, so you can tell people about it, right? You can
yes, sir.
tell people about it, man. And that's
We are
that's
we are
huge.
working on the book, and we're probably gonna do some kind of docu-series or something. But I'm looking January 6th is like a chapter in it, but there's a lot of chapters in there.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of chat, man. That's, and like I say, it's amazing. Like I said, it's surprising to me because I was like, shit, I know. But hey, man, but I'm glad you shared that, man, because a lot of people may not have shared that story, and may
Absolutely.
not have shared anything. But like you say, man, you're God's son, so you
That's
have
right.
no reason not to share. You have no reason to be ashamed of it because, like you say, God has used you in your life and kept you alive for a reason, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, cool, man. Hey, dude, we're gonna have you back. I mean, I'm gonna probably just swing to another segment of the show
Okay.
because I got a bunch of Jasmine Crockett shit. So,
Oh yeah. Get
so
her. She's from
yeah.
I think she's from Dallas, Fort Worth
Oh,
anyway. Get after it, man.
okay. Actually, Rev showed up. Yeah, dude. She's from Fort Worth. She's a congresswoman in the 30th district, man. 30th
Crazy.
district, but I think Sheldon Johnson, I think, is running against the man. But she's something else. She's bananas. So I mean, but my second guest did show up, Reverend
Okay.
Damien
Yeah.
Thaddeus. Hey man, hey, love having you in the Lions Den, man. Hey, we're gonna, like I say, won't have you back. Maybe when you get closer to the book or something like that, we'll have you back.
Okay.
We'll chat it up some more, dude. All right.
Absolutely. God
All
bless
right,
you.
guys.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, thank you, Shane. We appreciate you coming, brother.
Anytime.
All right, take care. All right. Okay, guys, before I get to my second guest, I'm gonna my sponsor, some Supermassive Black Coffee. Are you tired of the same old corporate coffee, diluted with and devoid of character? It's time to break free from the chains of mediocrity with Supermassive Black Coffee. Crafted from 100% organic beans, the coffee is fire roasted in a Victorian era roaster, a relic from an age when true craftsmanship thrived. This unique process allows the flames to caress each bean, unlocking bold, rich flavors with dark chocolate undertones and a smooth, smoky finish. In a time of soaring coffee prices and supply chain disruptions, Supermassive Black Coffee stands as a beacon of quality and resilience. While others compromise, this brand remains steadfast, delivering a brew that defies convention and invites coffee lovers to explore the depths of flavor and mystique. So please join the rebellion against the mundane. Visit supermassiveblackcoffee.com. Again, that's supermassiveblackcoffee.com and use code MBN for 20% off on your order. Embrace the conspiracy and sip the mystery. All right, so my next guest. You guys know how I do. I give you a little quick review of a quick bio. So Damien Thaddeus Jones is a Christian minister, distinguished throughout conservative. He's a conservative thought leader, civic advocate, and political analyst with nearly 15 years of expertise in civic and political engagement. A proud veteran of the United States Air Force, so he is a brother. Woo, 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 woo. Of course, I was in the Navy, but my son's in the Air Force. Holla. All right, native son of Jackson, Mississippi, Reverend Jones has dedicated his life to serving American communities with passion, integrity, and purpose. And you guys know how I do. I let them come on and tell you more about themselves because they can tell you more about themselves than I can. So, Reverend Jones, how you doing, sir?
Jerome, God bless you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Thank you for coming on the Lions Den, man. I appreciate you.
Man,
And for all my guests, like again, me and Reverend Jones has never talked before. We've seen each other on X, we follow each other on X. We go through, we chat up on X a little bit, but we've never spoken. Okay, we've never spoken before. You guys know that's how I do my interviews. I don't because I don't want it to.
No, but you were listening to the space the other day. I mean, you kind of hit me up, and I'm always checking my back channel, like when I'm having a space, all kind of messages coming in, and people giving feedback, people saying let me on stage, all kind of stuff. And so I appreciate your messages. Oftentimes I just appreciate when people spend their time just to listen. Some people don't want to speak; they just want to listen to the content. So I really appreciate you, man.
No. I appreciate you having those spaces too. Like I said, man, in the space, I come in and listen. A lot of spaces I do talk, and a lot of people invite me to talk. Like I say, sometimes I just like to be a fly on the wall. I like sit back. I like to, just chill and see what the conversation is about. Because that's just how you learn. I think more people should do that. More people should listen more and talk less, man. Especially in some of those spaces. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell people who you are, man. Tell people what you do, and who Reverend Jones is, man, and then we're gonna get at how you became a conservative from a Democrat.
Man, would love to talk about it. So, I'm Damien Thaddeus Jones. I'm a Christian minister. I love God. I love the Lord. I'm a man of faith. I ain't perfect. I'll still cuss you out every now and then, but
right.
I try to be after God's own heart. And I'm a husband of almost 6 years. I'm a father. My daughter's almost 2. And I was telling somebody yesterday, like, I think, how many children do you have?
I have 3 boys, man. I have 3 grown men. They're not boys anymore. They're grown men. Yeah.
So I think you would agree with me when you say having children makes you a better man.
Oh, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Life, man. I mean, when you're a good man. Okay.
Yes.
When you're a good man.
Yes. That's a great point. So you know, my daughter, and man, you know, I've spent the last about 15 years of my life dedicated to public policy, to politics, to community coalition building, helping politicians and campaigns reach success and reach their ambitions. And I, you know, I'm a problem solver. You know, that's what I like to call myself. And you know, and when I'm not doing that, and man, I'm trying to bring some souls to Christ. So man, I have a very blessed life, and let me plug, if you will, my new book. I think you saw it, and I need to send you a copy.
Oh
But
yeah,
my
yeah, do that, man. I bring a lot of authors on, man. I got,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got stacks of books. Yeah, man, that's the rule. You got to send me a book.
Send
Got an
me your
autograph and send me a book.
send me your address. I promise I'll send it to you, man. Thank you so much. And my book, Black Voters Red Wave, it's on Amazon right now. Go to Amazon.com. You can go to my website, DamienThaddeusJones.com, and you can find the book. It's only $8.99. I'm not trying to hit you too hard, but I just want to share some real information with you. And it's about the 8 reasons why Black people supported Trump in the 2024 election. I really don't put my opinion in it much. I really wrote it from an academic standpoint and just gave people the real data, right? And it's several reasons, economic reasons. It's his connection to the culture of Black America. It's also how bad Biden's policies were, and what people were beginning to see as the faux symbolism of the Biden administration. And one of my favorite chapters is chapter 6. It's called The Curse of Barack Obama. And Barack really, really hurt the Democratic Party in this past cycle. And I to this day, I still don't think that he realizes it because he's so full of himself. So, man, yeah, pick up the book. It'll really bless your life. But I got to send you a copy, Jerome.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that, man. And you know, you're right about Obama, man. I mean, because a lot of people really, you know, except those hardcore, you know, what I like to call just brainwashed, if you want to call it. I call it Stockholm syndrome. The people that are really in the Stockholm syndrome,
Sure.
you know, but the ones that really came out and really, you know, saw that Barack Obama didn't do, you know, anything for Black America.
Yeah.
And then this election, when he tried to come out and tell Black men that it was our fault because we weren't feeling the Indian woman. We weren't voting for the Indian lady. You know, we knew Indian. She wasn't Black, you know, so you know, so I mean, for him to come and tell us that it was our fault that if she loses, right? I'm like, you know, man, go and get out of here with that noise, right? You know, go and get out of that noise. So part of what your book, give us some highlights in your book, you know, as far as the reasons why you feel that that Trump won.
I can't find a copy right now, but can you hear me well?
Oh yeah. I hear you fine.
Trump won, Jerome, because he won because of himself and also despite of himself. He won despite, because the Democrats were so bad.
Right.
Like when I look at campaigns and election season, I look at it from a strategy standpoint. I'm a strategist, right? I know how to get with a candidate and change their image, change their way of marketing, change their way of connecting and communicating with the body politic. Like I'm really good at that. And it's really fun. So when I'm looking at election cycles and how they come about, thank you so much. That looks great. If the Democrats would do something good, I would give them credit because I think about it from a strategy and kind of competitive standpoint. And I just like to see strategic moves made. And Democrats ran Obama out. They ran Clinton out. They had Bernie out. They had Hillary out. And they all had the same death message of Trump bad. And I think the voting populace is growing and maturing where they can see right through some non-substantive political rhetoric coming from a side with a narrative. And think about this, Jerome, how they talked about Trump so bad, Democrats did, and call him a threat to society, a threat to democracy, all these different Hitler, all these different things.
Yeah.
And then weeks after, they're at a funeral together, chopping it up and cackling it up. And now
Yeah.
we haven't heard any of that talk, really, not much, other than from Jasmine Crockett. And
yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get to her. That's another thing. We're gonna get to Jasmine, man, because now I think well, all right, go ahead. We'll cover that.
Go ahead.
I mean, no, but you're right though. I mean, because it's all theater to me. Okay, a lot of it is theater because I ran for Congress twice, right?
Okay. Where about?
In Virginia, 2nd District of Virginia. Okay. I ran in 2020 and 2022.
Okay.
And so when,
congratulations, man.
Oh, thanks, man. When I say the Uniparty, right? Mm-hmm. When the Uniparty spent $7 million to beat me in my primary,
wow.
I knew then that they didn't want serious people.
Who did you piss off?
In Congress? Shit, I pissed off. I pissed them all off. Pissed them all off. Kevin McCarthy spent $450,000 against me.
Wait, who were you running against?
I ran against Jen Kiggins. She was.
Did you get to the general? Or did you get out in
of the primary? No. I didn't get out of primary. They spent. Listen. Now I was, and here's how I know I was the front runner. Okay. Other than the Democrats saying it in their, in their closed circles. But Elaine Luria, who was on the J6 commission as well, she was the incumbent. I had ran in 2020. I was the only one that came back in 2022 to run again.
So twice. Okay.
And in 2022, I was the lead candidate in there to take down the establishment of both sides. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because you had groups from the Democrat Party side. There was this group called the Patriot Majority. I don't know why they called it Patriot, but it was called the Patriot Majority. They spent $303,000 against me themselves. In ads and commercials and stuff, and I was on the Democrat side. On the Republican side.
Oh, okay, on the Democrat side. Okay.
Yeah.
You ran as a Republican or Democrat?
I ran as a Republican. Yep. I ran as a Republican, a conservative. So, and on the conservative side, I was killing her on campaign donations because my campaign donations were coming in from nationwide, and I was beating her. And these were small dollar donations. I beat her 6-1 in small dollar donations, throughout the whole campaign. But Kevin McCarthy saw this, and Kevin McCarthy knew that, and I said it publicly. I probably should. If I didn't say it publicly, I probably would be up there now. But I just don't lie, and I don't pull punches with people, But I stated publicly that no, I wouldn't vote for Kevin McCarthy, for Speaker of the House. And this is what they were doing. They were counting votes for Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House
at that time. Okay.
And so he dumped in $450,000 into her campaign after I said that.
Wow.
450,000. Yeah. And so when they started putting money to her campaign, the Democrats were spending money against me because I was a +6 against the incumbent that I would win. And these are from Democrat polls. These are from, in internal polling with the Democrats that said I was 6 points up. Mm-hmm. And so they attacked me. They came after me more than they went after her because it was a toss up with them two. If I was out of the race, it was a toss up between them two. So they would rather, go to toss up than lose by 6 points, right? And so I ended up losing the primary, man. I did, and that was $7 million later, but that's okay. If you're gonna spend $7 million against me, then thank you very much. I know I'm a threat. So, right. But anyway, so they did that.
Are you gonna take another stab at it?
I don't know, man. I like doing my podcast, man, because I can actually tell the truth up here, man, and not worry about any political ramifications or
you
any
can actually reach a vast audience this way.
Yeah, and it's
to a district, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. And so this how I know it's all theatrics, man, because they Hitler this and and a threat to democracy that, and like saying, and then they're chatting it up, right? I've been to places, man, where these people have called each other out, and I've been and I see them at lunch. I see them at lunch up in the Capitol Hill Club eating together. You know what I mean? Right, they're just up here chilling. So a lot of it is theatrics just to keep the two parties, man, right? Because if people, like I said, I'm a conservative and I ran as a Republican. because I'm definitely not a Democrat. I don't believe in any of the Democrat policies whatsoever. You know, I actually believe in life. I actually believe in life of little black babies. You know, in life of everybody, but especially little black babies in the womb. This is why we're why we're the third number in population now instead of number 2. You know, like we were. The Latinos have come
I don't
over,
even want to go there with you.
I
don't want to go there with you. I don't want to black people.
Hey, bro, hey, man, I'm gonna tell you, man. We you take this show any way you want to go, and that's why I don't have a script. That's why I don't have a script, and it's not edited. You can take this show any way you want to go. I'm a fond believer of that. The Democrat Party has always been the party of oppression of black people. They continue to be the party of oppression of black people. They continue to have their overseers and these black boulets and these bourgeoisie people, you know, like the Roland Martins and the ilk, the D.L. Hughleys, they put the Whoopi Goldbergs, all those. Nah, I don't either. But unfortunately, he gets a lot of ear. He gets the ear of too many black people. I don't know how many people watch your show for the but
man, it's crumbling. It's crumbling, Jerome. It's crumbling. Like hear me on this. Like I said, once I jumped into politics about 2010. I was a diehard Democrat all the way up to 2020.
Okay.
Diehard Democrat, and Democratic consultant. I'm shaking hands, I'm kissing babies. I'm in the rooms. I'm with next to certain people of certain caliber and power. I'm there. I'm doing good work. I finished. I did the Beto O'Rourke campaign in 2018. 2018 was a magical year. It was a crazy year. Like. Okay. This was Trump midterm election,
right?
And he, as a Democrat at that time, Trump was the gift that kept on giving. Every day he was going to say something off the rocker, and it just helped us at that time just raise so much money because the more he says, Trump said what today? Okay, how much we raise? It's crazy. So I had a lot of fun with that campaign, but at the same time, I was wrestling. With my conservative kind of upbringing, right?
I tell people all the time, man, black people are been in conservative forever.
Yeah.
We've always been conservatives.
Yes. The only reason we switched over is because Dr. King told us to.
Right.
That's the only time. And what was that, 64? When Dr. King convinced us to go vote for LBJ?
Well, I voted for LBJ in 68,
64.
67, well, 64. 64.
No, because LBJ didn't run in 68. That's when Nixon won.
Yeah, Nixon won 68, 64. Yep.
He won 68, 72, then had to bounce out in 73?
73, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was still wrestling with, because I'm seeing these things happening on the Democratic side in terms of policy, overall general national policy positions, thoughts on different things, and I'm just like, this doesn't make sense to me. I don't feel good about this, right? I don't feel good with some of what I'm hearing in some of these rooms as it relates to black people, and that's where my love starts. As an activist, as a strategist, as a preacher, as a husband, father, my love starts on the chocolate side, as Dr. West would say.
Right.
And I'm just like, man, this stuff doesn't make sense. So it was just wrestling with me because, like, man, I didn't get involved with politics to make money or make friends or get some type of stature. I just wanted to help people. That's who I am at the core of me. My favorite Bible verse is Matthew 23:11. The greatest among you will be your servant. Like, I don't know when I'm gonna leave this earth, Jerome. I have no idea. Maybe in the morning. But while I'm here, I want to do something to help somebody, to serve somebody. And I don't care about Republican, Democrat. I know I identify as a Republican, but I really don't care about that. In the day, I just want to help somebody. If I'm helping a Democrat do something and advance their life and be a better person, I'm all for it. And vice versa. So I really just came in to help people. And I'm looking at things. I'm like, no, this don't make sense to me. So the more and more I listen to Trump, and it's like, going into COVID, this is Trump's last year, and I'm like, he got this in the bag. As long as he just stay even keel, he got it in the bag. Then COVID hit, boom, huge disruption. Then George Floyd, huge disruption, right? And he didn't handle everything right. he didn't say the right things during that first term. It was his first time as president, so can't fault him too much. And I think if he had the discipline to kind of keep his mouth shut on some stuff, he'd still be president. He still would have been president from 20 to 24. But I thank God that we have him now. And so I began to wrestle and I was like, man, you know what? I think I'm ready to do this. And another reason was this, Jerome. How much time we got?
We got plenty of time, man. We can go over if you want. We got at least 30 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Normally, yeah. If not, hell, I'll bring you back. Ain't no problem.
the other part was in the state of Texas, a Democrat's voice doesn't mean anything at the state level. Because was it 100? I think it's 150 members of the Texas House. 100 of them, at least 100 of them, are Republicans.
Right.
So they're well over 2/3 at this point. So a Democrat's voice doesn't really mean anything. And I wanted to get to the state house. And that's why I say, it just doesn't make sense. So I can just be true to myself and what I'm thinking, and then just also join the Republican side where it just makes more sense in the state of Texas, and it makes more sense for who I am, And I tell people all the time, people change. Don't try to shame or ridicule me because I'm not a Democrat anymore.
Man,
I just grew as a man. I got married, and I have a daughter, and I live in a HOA neighborhood. I kind of look at life a little differently now. You know what I mean?
Things change, man. Like you say, I mean, when you get married or when you have a kid, right? And you look at that, and like I say, when you had that kid, man, you start thinking about the best schools. You start thinking about the best neighborhoods.
Right.
You start thinking about, I want my kid to be able to go outside and play. I don't want my kid to be, you know what I mean? So you start thinking about all those things, and you start thinking, well, shit, man, that's
do you know how huge that is for me to, and I picked my neighborhood. I picked it. My wife allowed me to trust me to pick it. And I picked the neighborhood. And one of the things I was looking at is like, I want my family to be able to go outside and enjoy themselves if they want to. And man, you know what it feels like to when I take my daughter to the park. And like I didn't growing up, I didn't have a park I could go to. Right. As I think about that, I feel like the old dude, but like I didn't have a park we could just go walk to in my neighborhood like that. No, we didn't have green space like that. We just
right.
You made do of the street. So like we put a basketball goal in the street and we played ball in the street. And when a car came, you stopped. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you stop, man. You put the rim, the tire, the bike tire rim up there.
Right. That's how we had.
That's how we did it.
Right. Where you from?
I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, man.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
When did you leave Cleveland?
Well, I left Cleveland in 1984 when I graduated, man. I actually went to DC. After I graduated, I actually worked for the FBI for about a year and a half.
Okay.
After graduation, then I went to the Navy, man. I did 27 years in the Navy, retired in 2012.
Oh, thank you for your service.
Well, thank you for your service. You did some little Air Force time,
yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My son's in the Air Force right now, man.
Okay. What's he doing?
Yeah. Well, he's an MD. He's a emergency room doctor.
Good deal.
Yeah, actually down there in Texas, man. He's down at BAMC, down in San Antonio, but right now he's doing a fellowship up in Austin.
Okay.
Once he graduates the fellowship and gets the certification in pediatric emergency room medicine, he's going to be only the second doctor in the Air Force with pediatric emergency medicine credentials.
Wow.
So,
congratulations, Dad.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. So that, my other son, he's doing HVAC and my other son, he's doing musical theater, man. So I got the spectrum of dudes, man.
Wow, man. Y'all must be proud.
Oh yeah, very proud, man. But that comes back to, here's where it comes back to, though, to be honest, man.
What?
And I picked out my kids' neighborhoods, bro. I picked out my kids' neighborhoods, man. No matter where we move. No, from growing up.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, growing up. Because I came from the hood, right?
Okay.
And my dad took us from the hood, and I probably got this from my dad. My dad took us from the hood and moved us to a white suburb.
Man, we did too.
And literally, bro,
it's crazy
literally,
I'm thinking about this stuff 30
30
years later.
Yeah, right. We were literally only the number 3, right? We were the third black people in our whole neighborhood, right? Literally.
We may have the
literally.
same story, dude.
And so, I mean, and so I, after the hood, and like I said, you're, a product. Kids are products. Like I was telling my previous guest, kids are products of their environment.
Sure, absolutely they
Right?
are, especially when it comes to 91% of black homicides are committed by black people. Absolutely, kids are
Dude, black
products
people
of
don't
where
want to
they
hear
are.
that though. Like that space
Yeah.
the other day.
Because
They don't wanna hear
they
that.
have bad parents.
Right, man. They don't want to hear that, man. They think that all these white people killing all these black people. No, white people not killing black people. The KKK not killing black people, yo.
What does the number say? Well, watch this. I'm telling you, man.
FBI numbers.
One
Yeah.
of the greatest things an elder ever taught me, when I was on the campus of Texas Southern University, this elder named Charles X. White taught me this. He said, Damien, whenever you are debating with somebody on the issues, he said, always bring data or a report to found your issue. So if somebody wants to dispute something you said, have them dispute the data, not you. And so I saw that number and I was like, man, 91% of the black homicides in America are committed by black people. Ooh. And people want to tell me that black on black crime is not a real thing. They said that, and then somebody sent me the cover. Well, they sent me Ebony magazine from 1979. I wish I could send it to you. You can put it on the screen. But it's a 1979. The cover of Ebony says black on black crime. So as early as 1979, before the crack era, before Ronald Reagan, when Jimmy Carter was still in office, Ebony was saying we got a problem with black on black crime in 1979.
Right.
So it's definitely an issue at this particular point. So yeah, my thing is I'm lifting it up to make people uncomfortable. Because unless we're making each other uncomfortable, we're not making real progress. If we want to just sit in echo chambers, we really ain't going nowhere. So I want to challenge my people to think differently about this black on black homicide thing, not crime, but homicide for me. And to break the muscle memory of just automatically blaming white people for some failure in your life. You are responsible for your own life. You are in control of your destiny. And so black people, and I'm speaking as a general sense, black people, not all, but most, are not telling their kids that they can go out and do anything in their life, regardless of what barrier may come your way. That's life. But go ahead.
No, and I mean you're right, and it's because of people like this, right? I'm gonna play this, and this is what I call the bourgeoisie, because a lot of people, they listen to Jasmine Crockett, right? And they think she's hood. They think she's from the streets. No, bitch, you grew up. She went to private high school. She went to a private college. Okay, she grew up with a silver spoon in her mouth. Jasmine Crockett is not hood. She's cosplaying to be hood. But here's one of the things, because it's people like her that'll put this message out, and you get these black women. Oh my God, man, these black women that latch on to these other black women that they keep perpetrating this fraud, and she's one of them. This is relative to what you were saying as far as blaming white people.
Supremacy agenda. This is all about white supremacy. Even their anti-trans kids bill, that's a white supremacist deal. And honestly, as far as I'm concerned, we're dealing with a white supremacy issue when it comes to the abortion pill issue that they wanted to add to the call. Because when we look at the growth in this state over the last 10 years, over 80% of the growth has been due to people of color, not white folk. So, it's a white supremacy agenda. Said that actually the most educated demographic in this country right now is black women. I am tired of the white tears. Listen, if you are competent, you are not concerned. When I walk into Congress every single day, you know why I don't feel a way and why you can't make me doubt who I am? Is because I know that I had to work 10 times as hard as they did just to get into the seat. When you look and you compare me to Marjorie Taylor Greene or me to Lauren Boebert, there is no comparison. And that is the life that we have always lived. So the only people that are crying are the mediocre white boys that have been beaten out by people that historically have had to work so much harder.
A congresswoman from North Texas is causing controversy over recent comments she made about Governor Abbott. Fox's Stephen Dial explains.
Dallas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is being called out by other elected officials for her comments last Saturday at a human rights campaign event.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot mess.
I don't know how the Democrats came to appoint Jasmine Crockett as the unquestioned leader of your party, but thank God. And I think what she should do is go on TV twice as much as she is right now, maybe 3 times as much, because every time she appears and makes one of these mistakes, says something radical, it only further divides her party from the rest of the other 80% of America who can't stand this.
So you talk about the gift that keeps on giving. She's the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, but I want to touch on something that she said, and one about white supremacy and abortion.
Okay.
I don't know of any white supremacists or massas or whatever that are forcing black women to go kill their babies. I don't know any of those. I know the program was intended on that, and it's working to fruition. Margaret Sanger put it, when she developed it for the eugenics program and put all of these in the black neighborhoods. But shouldn't she be fighting against that? I mean, but that's not the thing. And this one thing that I despise about the Democrats, right? They talk about white supremacy. They talk about the white man being this white man, but we're killing our babies. So we're not even making building our population enough to even try to tackle or to even defend our position from the white man. And she's all for that.
I think, Jerome, that, and I've just discovered this in the last 2 weeks, black people have muscle memory. And they have muscle memory when it comes to the ability to revert back and deflect every conversation back to victim mindset, blame white people in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Oftentimes it makes no logical sense. But that's what we've been so conditioned, and as some would say, socially engineered by the Democratic Party and its lies and its narratives and its perversions of normal nuclear life, right? But here's the thing about Jasmine. I honestly think she's a very brilliant woman. I've been following Jasmine before she was elected to office.
Yeah, she's down in Texas. Yeah, right. She's right.
So when I lived in Texas, I saw that she was running against somebody that I knew. And I said, okay, this is an interesting race to watch. And then I began to look at the numbers, and then she ended up getting to a runoff, Jasmine and the other lady. And I told somebody, I said, man, I think this Jasmine lady is going to win because she had such good young energy. And given what was going on in that area, they have a lot of people that have been in office a long time. So when you see new young energy around that 2018, 2020 time, I was really excited about it. And so I saw that she won. She's a firebrand. She's a talker. And I was like, okay, I like that type of feel, right? Whether you're Democrat or Republican, I'm looking at it from a strategy standpoint. I was like, man, I like her. She can talk, right? And I sent her a message. She probably never got it. She never responded to me, but I sent her a message. I said, one day, I said, you should run for Congress. I said this to her, right? I can find the message and send it to you. But then she ended up getting the endorsement from the late Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson, who was in that
right. That was in that seat. She came right.
And but somehow she gave Jasmine the endorsement, not 5 or 6 other people that have been in line for the last 10, 20 years. And so Jasmine was not the status quo pick at all. So I actually like Jasmine. My problem is, and this is the conundrum with every politician, especially those that go to Congress. When you're trying to get into Congress, you're campaigning one way and you're talking about certain things because you're really grassroots level. You really haven't been on the inside, and you think that everything can be fixed. Once you get inside and you sit down with the whip, and you sit down with Pelosi, you sit down with some of these big names, and you begin to learn the ways in which Congress really works, it changes you. And it's kind of like, okay, do I stay true to who I was and only get 1 term, maybe 2 terms, or could I conform and just kind of give a flicker of real push and activism, but I'll stay in office 20 years and I'll build I'll get vested and I'll build my pension and things of that nature. So I think it's a conundrum. And I think Jasmine has changed from who she really went in to become. And I think she's honestly, I mean, she's so talented and so brilliant. But
yeah, I think, I mean, not
she's turning into a cartoon character.
Yeah. I think she's in it for herself. I honestly think, because here's the numbers, right? So down in that district, around that district, 700,000 people.
Okay.
In District 30, and when she ran against Libertarian. There was no conservative. I mean, she won the endorsement. I guess won her race, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was no conservative that ran against her. Now there's, I think Sheldon Jones, I think, is running against her now in the 3rd district.
I wish him the best,
now.
but it's gonna be tough.
And I know, and see, well, here's the thing: she ran against a Libertarian, and she only got 196,000 votes. She only got 196,000 votes, and she ran against nobody. Basically, she ran against nobody.
So nobody came back out. That maybe that district sounds like that district doesn't have a high voter turnout.
Well, because like you said, I mean, she wasn't known. Probably it was the first time, but no, they didn't have a high voter turnout. Only 196,000 votes, and so I mean, to me, I think she's cosplaying, of course, because she didn't grow up like that. And so what she's doing now is pushing the narrative and making sure that narrative stays focused. The angry black woman narrative.
Oh, that's slowly dying, bro.
I mean, not with her. I mean, she's not letting it die.
I know, but for her, like, think about this, and this is why I don't like what she's doing. She's pigeonholing herself.
Right.
She honestly wouldn't have a long future in Congress because she's pigeonholing herself into this kind of character, and it will only go so far. You can't be the firebrand kind of loose-lipped black woman for too long. Like, I mean, you're dealing with national politics. Somebody's gonna, try to find a skeleton on you or something like that.
Well, they're fine, dude. I got so many clips up here on her, man.
Right.
I mean, when I got this many clips on you having a bad time. You're making yourself look very, very foolish.
So like she has no, at this rate, unless she changes at this rate in this pace, she doesn't have any opportunity to really reach the top level. Where, I mean, cause what's her ceiling? She'll never be speaker.
No, I don't think. I think.
You know what I'm saying?
I think she's at her.
I mean, is anybody gonna consider her a whip unless she changes her ways? I don't see it. I think she's burning herself out and she's burning her brand out.
The act is getting old. I mean, but here, I'm gonna play this clip. But I actually put her in this category now of all of the boule, I call them, and the bourgeoisie. Because it's always about this now. And Booker T. Washington said it a long time ago. Pop this in.
Class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose his grievances because they do not want to lose their jobs. There is a certain class of race problem solvers who don't want the patient to get well. That was said by Booker T. Washington.
It's profitable. It's profitable. Now, I mean, she's amassed, a lot of wealth.
Her fundraising has been through the roof.
And I mean, so it's really about money. But I think, because you see how let's say AOC was this person last year,
right? And where is she now? She burnt out.
And so no,
AOC was so hot.
Pulling her back
2 years ago.
Watch this though. They're pulling her back, and they're trying to change her persona.
AOC
a little bit. Oh yeah, to make her more
palatable,
leadership palatable.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like, at some point, you got to calm down. You can't.
And so now this is Jasmine Crockett. So now she's the one that they're going to put out front. She's one. Yeah. But here's the thing though.
You better relax.
I mean, you can't do that, and push the stereotypes because it make certain demographic, black women look bad, and black women don't like to look bad. And she's
No,
making black women look
listen,
look
a
terrible.
lot of black women I talk to do not like the character that Jasmine Crockett is playing.
Right.
You know, I mean, black women, they may have had some critiques, but they respected a Condoleezza Rice and the ways in which she carried herself, right?
Right.
I mean, even I would say like a Sheila Jackson Lee. I didn't always agree with everything that she said or did, but at least she carried herself like a Congress member, right? Ed Bernice Johnson carried herself like a Congressman. And I understand nowadays politics is more modern, more progressive, and you're going to some of the language and communications a little bit more looser than days past. I'm okay with that. I think that creates some authenticity, but I think at a certain level, when you start to lose your decorum,
right,
and now
right.
your every curse word on national television is a swear word. I don't think this is a good look for a member of Congress. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you have to have some type of, let's say, higher standard of you say higher decorum.
You can say whatever you want to say, just don't be cursing.
Right.
You know what I mean? You get a lot of leeway from a communication standpoint as a member of Congress. You can say whatever and talk to whoever whenever you want to. You just ain't gotta be cursing. You know what I mean?
Right, right. I mean, I do that. I put like this. I've said on my show, but when I ran for Congress or when I was out in public, I never used a swear word. Never used a swear word out in public, or when I was on a TV interview. I did many of television interviews on the radio and everything. Never used a curse word. Doing that, and I'll drop an F-bomb in a minute, man. I was 27 years in the Navy. I'm good at that. I'm very, very good at that, right? But there's a time and place for that, right? Sure. There's a time and place for that. And when you lose, like I said, that decorum, and when every other program, you're on the Breakfast Club. I'm like, come on, man. You're on the Breakfast Club and you're saying Donald's because he's married to a white woman is whitewashed.
It's unfortunate, man. I'm telling you that there's some black. Listen, I mean, elected official or not, black people have been so brainwashed. I mean, and listen, the most brilliant among black people are brainwashed. Those with 2 degrees, law degree, brilliant. Like I said, like I believe she's brilliant. Brainwashed, and so to attack that man, that's what I'm saying. I told somebody, you can't solve violence with violence. You can't solve murders with more murder, and you can't solve racism or
reverse racism,
white supremacy with, and I don't believe in white supremacy.
Say that one more time. Say that one more time, bro.
Yeah, I don't believe in white supremacy.
Thank you. Me neither. I tell people,
only God is supreme to me.
Exactly. Here's my thing on white supremacy, and I'm gonna let you finish. I don't mean to cut you off, but you hit that point, right? And I tell people all the time, for you to believe in white supremacy, you must and you have to believe in black inferiority.
Yeah, for sure. That's the basic definition.
That's the basic definition. You have
the basic
to.
definition.
So, I don't believe black people inferior. White people, well, you can't believe
if you
in
believe
white
that supreme, then you believe that black is inferior. Absolutely, that is the basic core definition. If there's a white supremacy, then you must support a black inferiority.
Right. So go ahead, man. Continue. But you hit that, man. I just had to throw that out.
What was I talking about?
I mean, because there's so many people. I mean, you'll catch up on it. But there's so many people that will argue that down, man. Talking about white supremacy and and just all of this stuff, man. I'm like, but damn. I mean, we did have a black president, right? I mean, damn. I got a black doctor in my family. Can't be too much white supremacy out here, or else he wouldn't be a doctor, right?
It's a muscle memory response, man. Like once
I like that, man. Muscle memory. I'm still in that.
Once I started really honestly, because I was just like them. Like I would spit them Democratic talking points, whether I believe it or not. You just spit them, right? Because you feel like, okay, I'm black, I'm Democrat, I'm doing the right thing. Like, no, that's not always the case. But no, it's a muscle memory response, and like if we begin to just think about the things that are impacting our life and what the numbers say and what makes most sense, not what you hear or told on television, like it just doesn't make sense, Jerome, to support killing black babies. If you don't want to be a parent, then you ought to think about that before you lay down, or unprotected, whatever case may be. Listen, I don't have any excuses for parents, and if they can't raise their children, you know what I'm saying? Like people, somebody said, "Oh, this single mothers are at work." Okay, that's what parents do. You go to work. And I understand that sometimes life is going to throw you a tough hand where you may have to do some stuff differently or by yourself and things of that nature. But in the general normal sense, there's a lot of parents out here that ain't raising their kid, that ain't giving their kid the best of the best, or the best amount of time and tutelage and teaching. They're just not getting it, and that's why we see that 91% black on black homicide rate, because parents aren't spending time with these kids, and they're turning out to be just flat out reckless monsters, with no regard for human life, particularly black human life. And it's very unfortunate. So I mean, that's why I had that space, and I'm gonna continue to have that space for the next several weeks, but just keep building on, especially about solutions. But black folks are uncomfortable with that conversation, talk about black on black homicide. I didn't want to talk about crime. I just want to talk about murder.
Right. I mean, if you talk about, in taking the numbers there, because I did a show a couple weeks ago, because of something Jasmine Crockett said about, they said that most violent crime are committed by white men. I'm like, no. That's not what the FBI said. The FBI says,
she may. Now, I haven't looked at the numbers. She might be right, simply from.
No, I looked at them. It's the FBI.
The most number is the total number. So white people could have more of a higher total because it's just more white people. We're 13%. They're 50%.
You would think that. Right. You would think that, and I thought that too. But I went back and I looked at the numbers.
The black total number still higher.
54%.
Get out of here.
54%. And they didn't even do numbers for 2023. I could put, oh man, shit. It's on the FBI. Hold on. See, because I produce my own show, man. It's FBI.
Yeah, I got the same deal.
Yeah. I mean, see, because here it is, right? Because in 2023, see, I had to go back to 2019 and use statistics up to, right? Because they didn't even release. Okay, normally they release. Normally they release. Normally they release the statistics in like the fall of the year following, right? Sure. So in the fall of 2024, we should have got we should have gotten the numbers for 2023, right? And for 2023, dude, they didn't even have any data for 2023 at all. For 20,
really?
Yeah. But you know why though? Because election year. It was coming up on election year, and they knew that these crime statistics had went up. No, dude, they did not have any. They don't have the statistics for. Here, hold on. I'm gonna do it like this. For 2023. Okay, here it is. Violent. Okay, here it is. By race. Blah. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. So I'm trying to find the let me see, by race, violent crime by race, table 43. Those are arrests. I mean, so yes, go ahead, keep talking. I'm gonna try to look at this because this is showing.
I'm looking it up on Grok.
Yeah, it's showing arrest. I'm looking at not total arrest. Oh, violent crime. Hold up. Let me see here. So I'm trying to get to this. Now, when they talk about the violent crime deal, shoot, I had to put up my last show, man, because I was like, nah, man, this is it, right? But I wasn't prepared to pull it up today.
Number. I don't have a full number. What I'm looking at, like you said, in 2019, black individuals accounted for 51% of the arrests for murder, 35% of the arrests for robbery, and 30% of the arrests for aggravated assault.
Yeah. Okay. So those numbers are included, I guess, in all the violent crime, numbers. But like 2019, I think it's when I went back to for the full numbers. Then it went 2020. But Yeah, it was like, and in the first part of 2025, I think it was like 51% right now, man. It's crazy, and that's what I said, dude. I mean, we're not even, we're still only 13, 14% of the population, but but we're still committing most of the violent crime.
Dude, that's why it's so alarming that we're 13 and shrinking, but we're over 50% of a certain type of crime. Like,
Here it is, murder and negligent. Okay, here it is, 2022, murder and negligent manslaughter, 51.2% to 45.8% to whites, and this was 2000. That was 2019. Yeah.
So okay, so let's go that violent crime deal. So according to this data that I'm looking at from Grok, she's right. She's right. That's why I said she's right, because it says white people comprise of 59% of violent crime. Around 295,000 violent crimes from that particular year, and black people come in at 36% of violent crime. So they 180,000 violent crimes. So they're low when it comes to violent crime. Yeah, so they're like violent crime. They got it. That's why I wanted to focus on murder. Like we are,
well, murder is way up there, but I saw
murder. Like we are running away with murder. Violent crime. I mean, we might be third or something like that. White is at what? White is at 59%. Black 36%. Yeah.
That's 2018. So I can't even pull 2023, 2024 numbers.
Yeah. So she actually was right about that particular part, like just total numbers and percentage though too. But that's that. So that's why I like to cherry pick the argument and just use black on black homicide, because we're one there. Like with this
one, we're 1-on-1 black on black, yeah, but yeah,
black on black on black, yeah, but we're
murder period.
Yeah, we're two. So if I bring that argument up, they're gonna say, well, white people do it more, and that'll be the whole argument. So I try to cherry pick it, and I said, hey, you can't use any data from before the year 2000. Man, that broke the back of most of their arguments, because all they do is go to slavery.
They go back to slavery.
Yeah, we're killing each other at this rate in 2025 because of Harriet Tubman. Like, come on, man, this is insane. But no, I'm enjoying having that conversation with them last several days. Did you find it?
I'm doing 2024 now. I'm trying to go. I mean, it's I'm trying to find the last copy that I actually pulled up because they didn't have any in 2023, and they kept going back to 2022.
But let me say this while you looking.
Go ahead. No, but go ahead. No, we good, man. I mean, we can go on.
Like, man, becoming a Republican was probably one of the best decisions of my life. Now I would be honest with you. I don't think I've shared this before, but the day that I decided to file and run for office as a Republican, man, I was crying in the shower.
Where'd you run? What did you run for state office in Texas?
I ran for state house in Houston, in Third Ward, Houston, and I won the primary. And I got sick, and I withdrew and pulled out before the general. So technically, I never lost. I don't have a loss.
All right. Yeah, you okay?
Won the primary, 53.47% percentile, and very proud of that. And it was my first time running for office, period.
Oh, that's good, man.
Then I switched from a Democrat, and that my first foray into, and I won. So I'm very proud of that. Bright future. And no, it's just been so fun, man. It's been so fun. It's been so freeing. I think everybody has been so gracious and so loving, no matter what color. Like as Democrats, as a black Democrat, you really just stuck to black people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I saw that too, man. As a conservative, you're like accepted with everybody, right? With everybody, man, because everybody seems to have the same beliefs on the conservative side, right? No matter the color, man, you want the great schools, you want the low taxes, you want the smaller government, you want the great neighborhoods. I mean, lower tax. You want all the shit that that normal people should want, right?
Right. Yeah,
You know,
normal
you
people,
figure,
right.
you know, and I say normal people because I mean, even as Democrat, how can you say that you want your kids to stay and fail in schools? You don't want school choice.
That makes no. That's what I'm
It
telling
makes
you,
no
man. It
sense.
makes no sense, Jerome. Like they're arguing for public schools that have yet to have a consistent record of non-failing schools, and I mean they have completely failed kids. And I mean, my wife talked about this. Like, if I can help it, I'm not sending my daughter to a traditional public school. Now, it may be something Montessori, or maybe some type of charter situation within a public school context, but absolutely not. No, like public schools cannot be trusted with kids,
Not
man.
dude, it's even worse now, man. And we're going over a little bit, but that's cool. But I mean, no, but public schools, I mean, they're worse now. You know, I mean, than they were. You know, when I moved my kids, because when I moved to Virginia, I moved to in Georgia. I lived in Georgia, but my kids went to private school in Georgia. I went to Virginia. When I moved to Virginia, you know, at that time when I moved there in 2020 in 2002, you know, Virginia Beach had like the #1 schools, right? You know, so people were telling me, and I knew people, oh man, you need to move to Hampton, you need to move to Norfolk, you need to move to, you know, and I looked at all this, I'm like, why would I want to go there, man? And those schools are no good, you know? You know, and so the public schools in Virginia Beach at this time were the #1 schools, right? And so I you know, moved to Virginia Beach, right? You know, because that was the #1 thing. You know, my oldest son, the one that's the doctor now, you know, I mean, in his school, he became only the second Black valedictorian in Virginia Beach school history,
Wow,
right? And that's from, you know, just being in that, you know, being in that school system, and you know, and you know, I think today, right, if I didn't move to that area to put my sons in those good schools, right, would my son be a doctor today? What if I had moved to Hampton? What if I had moved down to Norfolk, you know, and put him in a, you know, moved to a Black neighborhood, you know, predominantly Black neighborhood, you know, went to the Black schools? Will my son be a doctor today? You know what I mean? You know, so this shit's all come down. It's all about choices, and like you say, parenting, right? You know, you make those decisions, you know, for your kids, man. You know, to, you know, what future you know, do you want your kids to have? When I hear these people arguing, man, about these schools, I'm like, our kids, our Black kids can't read and write, and you're down here trying to defend this shit.
Right.
You know, why are you trying to defend, you know, something that's failing your kid?
They're just automatic thinking that there anything related to Black kids is just, as it relates to schooling, it's support the public school. But it's like, no, look, I mean, look at every kid that comes out of here. Like, when I tell you, I saw a video, and I gotta find it in my bookmarks. There's a video I saw several months ago on X, where this was like the first day of integration. What year was integration generally? Like with busing and stuff like that.
Oh, that was in the 70s. That was back in you know, I guess, you know, because I remember my cousins got bussed
Is in the
across
70s.
the city, man. It was early 70s. Yeah.
This video was from the 60s. So maybe it wasn't busing, but this was a video from the 60s. But anyway, there was an interview where they caught some kids in front of a school outside, and they interviewed these, and they were like middle school, high school. And when I tell you, those kids in the 60s, Black kids were so eloquent. And they weren't from some rich neighborhood. They were regular kids that was getting, you know, in the hood, whatever. And they were so eloquent. It's like they were already media trained, the way how good they were. And so I look at that when people say the 60s were so bad with Jim Crow and this, that, and the third, and we didn't have we had separate but unequal schools. And I'm like, okay, now we got all that stuff fixed, and our kids finish high school, and we got a girl suing saying she's illiterate, but she finished high school. Kids can't spell nowadays. So I believe it's getting worse. And so public school, no, bro. Like, we need parent options are always best for the market, and they're always best for the consumer. So let's give every parent an option. If I want to keep my kid over here, but I could go find another program outside of my district, I got the resources to drive the kid or whatever, or get them to the bus stop. Let me try that. Let's give them our best foot forward instead of some cookie cutter public school system. And we've seen that governments are not equipped to run school systems. for the most part. They just aren't. You have a handful that are doing well, but for the most part, in terms of like public school in large cities, urban cities, it just, I mean, look at HISD Houston, look at Baltimore. Baltimore is just so
Oh
bad.
man, it is. Gosh, man, that's a shame, man. Those, I talked about that on when it shows. Man, I mean, how can you have an entire school district where no kid can pass on grade level math or reading? Zero. You get a zero. How does that happen? But you're paying these teachers money. You're paying these administrators to be these principals in these schools. You're paying these people. You're paying these. The school board is sitting up there. I mean, and then these same people. Then you have the governor up there, West, whatever his name is. West Moore. Yeah. I mean, talking about always, same shit, right? Blaming white people or underfunded. Dude, you get plenty of money. That's why I'm glad that they're abolishing the Department of Education and moving it back down to the within the states. Because kids aren't going to suffer or anything like that. They're going to get the same. No programs are being cut back or anything like that. But but it's a shame, and for people like that, man, dude, you're the governor of a state with that's failing your people.
Did you see the interview the other day? He was doing a press conference and he was talking about cutting budget cuts that he had made. He was proud of, and then a reporter said, "Governor Moore, just give us one budget cut from your huge cut." And he couldn't answer the question, so he turned and looked at his advisors on the topic, turned to them, let them step up. The guy that stepped up couldn't answer the question. Then another guy had to step up, and it really looked so unorganized, man. And Wes Moore is better than the stuff that he says, but again, he just feels he has to play a certain role.
I'm not giving them that credit. I mean, but you're right. They are playing a role. They are playing a role, and they are smart. Like you said, Jasmine's an attorney or whatever. She went to the University of Houston. I mean, she's smart and she's educated. But like you said, it said earlier, they have the dual master degrees. They got these. They got some of the most educated people are the stupidest people in the world, man. And for like Wes Moore, dude, you should be able to answer that question, my man. Right? You should be able to answer that question. Jasmine, you shouldn't be out here playing a hood rat, and you're not a hood rat. Why you lowering yourself to that standard, because it's beneficial to who other than yourself? It's not beneficial to the community. It's not beneficial to the people in your district, right? Because what's going to happen is the people in your district, you got one of the most crime-ridden districts, and this is one of the biggest things too. A lot of these Black representatives, no matter what state, no matter if you're governor, if you're freaking senator, you have the shit whole cities. You have the worst cities, the crime, the drugs, the prostitution, the schools, and you out here, blaming who? But your district is the worst, so that's why I say, man, I mean, they need to cut out all the cosplaying and whatnot, and playing the beneficial role.
We'll see where it goes.
I think Shoulder's gonna beat her though. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that out here right now. Shoulder's gonna beat her. He's gonna beat her in the primary. I mean, and I know you in Texas. I know you got your ear to the ground down there, man. I think he's I'm hoping he beat her.
He's the only Republican person, right?
Yeah,
The election's still so far away, so somebody else could jump in. So
I'm sure it'll probably be somebody else.
But I sent him a message the other day, and I'm praying for you because you got a long way to go. It's like we're just mid 25, and we still got to get to November 26.
Oh, it's a long leg, man. Dude, running for Congress, bro. Woo, man! Like I said, I did it twice, man. That's a long run. That was your first time running for office? In 2020. In 2020 was my first time. And
you broke my golden rule. Yeah. I have a golden rule in campaigns. Well, I don't think anybody should run for Congress their first time running for office. Mm-hmm. It's too much of a learning curve. Like number one, when you run for office, there's so many things you learn no matter what you're running for. Like, so it's probably best to kind of get that first experience at a local level, less money to spend, less votes to get. But once you're running for Congress, you really got to have millions at your disposal to really be
It's all
impactful
about
over. I mean, the
it's
district
definitely
full of
about
like
the money game.
500,000 people, and you got to send mail to all those type of people and do robocalls. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I raised about 660,000. So I
that's
had
pretty
raised
good.
I had raised a little money. I mean, but of course I couldn't fight the 7 million. I mean, but that was both parties, right? That was both parties. I mean, but still, I actually like I say, small dollar fundraise
What
both
percentage
my
did you get
opponents.
in the primary?
On the second, in the primary, I got like 24 or something like that. It
Oh,
was a
okay,
crazy number.
man. Oh, okay, man,
Yeah,
that's good for a primary.
yeah,
Yo,
yeah, it
nice.
was a crazy number,
You
man.
got
I mean,
something to
but
build on. This is what you do.
oh yeah,
I'm sure somebody's already told you this. Go look at your precincts.
right. Oh yeah.
Go look at where you were strong and then your weak areas.
Oh yeah. I won some districts. I won some areas. So
Yeah. And
so
so
yeah,
wait,
it was fun.
so if there's a pocket or area where you're strong, go run locally over there.
Go run low. Yeah. Right.
That's what you do. Like if you're gonna,
I know
some
I've been
people,
actually come run mayor from a couple of
yeah,
where I actually won at, right? Yeah, they want me to
yeah.
come be mayor, but I'm like, yeah, I mean,
I mean,
we'll
but
see.
whenever you decide, you may
Yeah.
never decide to get back in that level. So that's why I say I
I mean,
really get down to the granular level when I'm looking at data from like elections and stuff like that. It's really fun,
yeah, yeah. I know. Are you running again?
man. Listen, my daughter is 2 years old,
Right.
and no shit. I'll tell you, man. When you have a daughter, just a child, man, it helps you grow up, and so, man,
Yeah.
the fun that I'm having raising my daughter, she's starting to talk and say words and stuff now. She
Oh
can say
yeah, that's
she can
right.
say my first name.
Oh.
That fun and that feeling is better than any
Right.
election I could ever be a part of, man.
Absolutely.
So, but no, we'll
Absolutely.
see what
I mean,
God has
that's why
in store.
I didn't run until my kids graduated. And I said I
Right,
would
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Till my kids left home. And I mean, but yeah, man, it's a grind, man. Yeah, so yeah, yeah, enjoy being that daddy, man. Enjoy it,
Dude, when I tell you it's fun, Jerome, it's so fun, man. And me and my wife are blessed with the type of
Yeah.
child that we have.
Oh, that's good, man. And that's wonderful, man. I'm glad to hear that. So, hey, man, but hey, Rev, thank you for coming on, man. We're gonna have to have you
Thank
back.
you.
We're gonna have to do this more often, man.
Hit me up, bro.
More often, and
Hit me up, bro.
you
And
know,
make sure
set
you
it up.
send me your address so I can send you a copy of the book.
Okay, yeah, I will. I'm gonna pop this up one more time too. So you guys, man, so make sure you guys go. Let me see what I do with it. Shoot. Oh, what I do with it.
Is this on Rumble?
Yeah, man, it's gonna be on Rumble. This is dude. We're live on X right now. We're live on YouTube.
Okay.
We're live on Rumble. We're live on Getter.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So we're live on everything right now. Yeah, and then so there's this book, y'all. Like I said, Black Voters, Red Wave.
Yeah, man.
Decoding the Rise of Donald Trump's Black Support. Go out and get his book, man.
Thank you, brother. The book is flying off the shelves, man. It's doing so well, and so I'm so grateful to everybody that is supporting. Like it's really a good text, and it's really helping to help people understand the phenomena.
Right. Yeah. And it definitely, I'm sure, resonates, man. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna, after we get off here, I'm gonna shoot you my address, man. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, but thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you making time to do this, and I appreciate what you do to bring awareness to issues and to use your voice to get the truth out there. So, man, grateful for you, brother.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you. I just try, man. I just try. And it is what it is, man. We got to get the word out there. We got to make people knowledgeable. I said in 2025, I ain't arguing with people though. You're gonna have to just, you're gonna have to figure out for yourself, and listen up, but I ain't arguing with you. So
yeah, let's just do some conversation, man. But yeah. Bless
I
you,
mean,
bro.
I'm gonna jump on your space station, this week. I'll be up in there. I might even chat it up one time. I might even talk,
for sure,
man.
for sure. Yeah, anytime you need me, man, just hit me up, Jerome.
Okay,
Sure.
I appreciate you, bro.
Bless you, man.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care. All right, there it is, man. Reverend Thaddeus Jones. I like that, brother. I like that, brother. That was the first time we ever chatted up, and things like that. So I know we're a little over. Thank you guys for hanging out, man. Thank you guys for hanging out with me a little late. And because, like I say, you never know how these sessions are gonna go on the Radical Republicans Live. So, hey, but hit me up. next Sunday, we will be back here. And like I say, to all, the people that came out to the rally out in Meridian, out in Meridian, Idaho yesterday to shoot down these people want to take down on Jasmine's birthday, and I don't like Jasmine. Me and Rev gonna disagree on that one, but I think she'll rap. But we appreciate it. So y'all take care. And like I said, we're gonna go out and we shut y'all down yesterday. So this goes out to all of those people that went to protest Elon Musk yesterday in Meridian, Idaho. Y'all be cool. Peace.
Sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk, carjacking old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool, act a fool if you like, cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough. Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town. Got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day they're gonna round up. Well, that shit might fly in the city. Good luck, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town. Good old boys, raised up right. If you're looking for a fight, try that in a small town. Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Round here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town. Try that in a small town. Try that in a small town.